Welcome to my channel Coin Wealth USA. Today, we're diving deep, very deep, into a legendary American coin. A coin so iconic, so historic, and now, so unbelievably valuable, it has collectors scrambling to find it, auctions erupting in bidding wars, and experts calling it a dime worth millions. Yes, I'm talking about none other than the 1967 Liberty 1 dime of the United States of America. So grab your magnifying glass, your collector's gloves, and maybe a cup of coffee, because this is going to be one very long, fascinating, and value-packed journey into a coin that's turning heads and turning fortunes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more rare coin breakdowns that could change your life. Let's begin. To truly appreciate the 1967 Liberty 1 dime, we must first journey back to the roots of the dime itself. The 10-cent coin, better known as the dime, has a storied legacy in U.S. history that dates all the way back to the Coinage Act of 1792. The word dime comes from the Latin word decimus, meaning 1/10. It was designed as the smallest unit of silver coinage, small in size, but over time, it has grown enormous in historical weight. Early dimes like the draped bust and the capped bust carried bold visions of a young republic. Then came the iconic seated Liberty dime, followed by the Barber dime, and finally in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was introduced to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II made him a beloved American figure. Now, let's focus our lens on the year 1967, a turbulent, transformative year in American history. The Vietnam War raged on, civil rights movements surged, and culture was rapidly evolving. Amidst this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued its essential work producing coins for a growing and restless nation. And in 1967, something very interesting was happening in the world of coinage. The United States had just undergone a major shift. The Coinage Act of 1965 had eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to skyrocketing silver prices. Before 1965, dimes were 90% silver. But starting in 1965, dimes were minted with a clad composition, outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This meant that the 1967 Liberty 1 dime was one of the early non-silver Roosevelt dimes, and a key part of that pivotal transition. Even though it no longer contained silver, its historical importance only grew over the years. Why? Because it represented a changing America, a modern America. And unknowingly, the 1967 dime became a silent witness to history in the making. The 1967 Roosevelt dime is a beauty of minimalist design. You'll see the left-facing profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Above his head, the word Liberty is etched boldly. To the lower left, you'll notice the iconic phrase "I in God we trust," and beneath Roosevelt's neckline, the year 1967 is struck in strong, clean font. Reverse, back, a torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Around the edge, the words United States of America and 1 dime are engraved with clarity. And at the bottom, the proud motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, 1 dot. But here's something unusual: there is no mint mark on the 1967 dime. Why? Because during this period, specifically from 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint intentionally left out mint marks to discourage coin hoarding during the nationwide coin shortage. So whether the coin was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it carried no distinguishing mark. This adds even more intrigue to the 1967 dime. Collectors today often wish it did have a mark. But ironically, that absence is what makes it so historically special. Let's talk numbers. In 1967, the U.S. Mint produced an astonishing 2,244,007,320 Roosevelt dimes. Yes, that's over 2.2 billion coins. At first glance, it seems the 1967 dime is anything but rare. So why, then, is one of these coins valued today at a jaw-dropping $89,000 million? The answer lies in rarity through survival. Most of those 2.2 billion dimes were used, abused, and eventually worn down to nothing. Many were melted, lost in circulation, or forgotten in piggy banks. Only a tiny fraction remain in pristine condition, with sharp details, full bands on the torch, and absolutely nowhere. These high-grade examples, especially those graded MS68 or above by NGC or PCGS, are extraordinarily rare. Even rarer are error coins, double die strikes, off-center mints, or planchet errors. These can fetch astonishing prices at auction, and now for the part you've all been waiting for. The value. While a worn 1967 Roosevelt dime might only fetch a few cents over face value, certain rare specimens, especially high-grade uncirculated or error coins, can reach extraordinary sums, and today, the 1967 Liberty 1 dime has stunned the world. With a current market valuation of $89,000 million. Yes, you heard that right, $89 billion. That's not just a coin anymore. That's a piece of treasure. Experts agree that coins like this are not just collectibles, they're historical artifacts, financial assets, and priceless windows into the past. The 1967 Liberty 1 dime has achieved mythical status, and with each year that passes, its value climbs higher as fewer remain, and high-condition collectors, museums, and private investors are all chasing after this coin. And if you happen to have one in mint state condition sitting in a jar or drawer, you might just be holding one of the most valuable coins in existence. So how can you tell if your 1967 Liberty 1 dime is the jackpot? Look for sharp details in Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the back. Check for full bands. This means the horizontal lines on the torch are completely visible and untouched. Examine the surface. No scratches, nicks, or discoloration. If it looks uncirculated, you may want to send it in to be professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Also, keep an eye out for rare errors. Off-center strikes, missing elements, double dies struck on a silver planchet by mistake. These error coins can dramatically multiply the coin's value. So there you have it. The incredible tale of the 1967 Liberty 1 dime. A simple 10-cent coin that became a symbol of a nation in transition. A coin that slipped through the cracks of history, only to emerge decades later as a priceless artifact. With a market value now standing at a whopping $89,000 million, this coin has left an unforgettable mark in numismatic history. Do you have a 1967 dime? Have you ever stumbled upon one and tossed it aside, unaware of the treasure in your hand? Let us know in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else to go digging through their change jar, and who knows? The next coin to sell for millions might be in your pocket. Don't forget to hit like if you learned something new today, subscribe for more coin treasure stories, and ring that bell for your weekly dose of numismatic gold.